Hi Elle, I am Elle, the Director of Sales for Deepwater Games, and I'm going to run you through some of the stuff that we've got featured at PAX Unplugged. Fantastic Factories is our newest title. We've teamed up with Meta Factory Games to bring this one over to mass distribution. In Fantastic Factories, it's for 1 to 5 players, so there is a solo player mode in it. And in this one, we are all trying to create the wackiest but simultaneously most efficient factory at the table. So this one's going to have engine building elements, worker placement elements, and lots of very satisfying dice rolling throughout the game. It usually takes about 45 to 60 minutes to play, and it runs $40. And then over here, kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum, we have Claim. Claim is a 2-player trick-taking game where the king has died and we are both fighting for claim of the throne. So there, instead of classic suits of cards, we're going to see 5 different fantasy races, and they are all going to have different mechanics that are kind of specific to that fantasy flavor. For example, goblins are basically super weak, so you're going to see a lot of zero-value goblins in the decks. Knights are always going to trump goblins. Doppelgangers are wild shapeshifters, so they can follow any suit. And dwarves love an underdog, so they're actually going to go to whoever played the lowest value in that trick. And then we've also announced that we're bringing Claim 2, the sequel, over early 2020. So both of these are $15 games, and Claim 2 is going to play pretty closely to Claim 1. However, it introduces 5 brand new fantasy races, and each of them have different mechanics. The games can also be combined, and that'll let you create a multiplayer experience beyond 2 players. There are also going to be, over the course of 2020, mini expansions for the series that will allow you to equip characters from your races, swap one race out with a different one so that you can kind of customize the decks, almost evolving it into a bit of a living card game instead. Other games that we have with us at PAX Unplugged are some of our staple catalog. For example, Jisha Academy is a hit 2-player game. As some of you might be familiar with Hanami Koji, and this is kind of just the gender-swapped version of that, where instead of vying for the favor of the 7 highly esteemed geisha of Hanami Koji, we're vying for the favor of the 7 highly esteemed scholars of Jisha Academy, but it has the same gameplay you love and the same high-quality level of art direction. Realm of Sand is another title from the same Taiwan publisher, so that one is going to be almost like a combination of tiling, spatial puzzles, engine building, a lot of my favorite traits at the end of the day. We've already talked about Claim and Fantastic Factories. And then another one of our favorite Empress 4 titles is Mystery of the Temples. That one is a 2 to 4 player strategy game where the Queen has tasked us, her personal court of mages, with the responsibility of breaking the curses on the 5 nearby temples. Many of you might be familiar with Welcome To, which was our hit roll and write title that we released last year at Gen Con. So this one doesn't require much explanation since most of y'all have probably even played it already. But in this game, we're playing as 1950s housing developers during the baby boom where everybody was pumping them out and needed a place to put them. So every single player is going to fill their neighborhood with different houses, start up landscaping projects, put up fences to create big old estates for your bougier residents. You're going to do everything you possibly can to have the highest scoring and most valuable neighborhood at the end of the game. Which leads me into one of our big PAX Unplugged announcements, which is the fact that we are going to be bringing Welcome to New Las Vegas, the standalone sequel, over to the American marketplace in April next year. That one is going to have a lot of similarities to Welcome To, parts of the game that made it so successful. For example, the 1 to infinity player aspect, the simultaneous turns that allow for consistent game time no matter how many players you have. But it is going to be an experience for those who are looking for something with a bit more depth and complexity after they enjoyed Welcome To. So this game is going to take a little longer to play. Rather than 25 minutes, it's going to be closer to about 40 minutes for a playthrough. Still 1 to infinity players. You're going to have dual-sided player sheets where you are going to make all sorts of renovations to your Las Vegas strip. And then it's got so much going on that the back of the sheet is actually your whole entire score sheet. So in Welcome to New Las Vegas, kind of leans into the part that where we are in Vegas. So it's a gambler's paradise. So the game really embraces a lot of push your luck mechanics and race to the finish mechanics. It's going to give you a little more interaction than the first Welcome To did, and it's going to be a lot more both punishing and rewarding depending on how the things swing for you. We also have Floor Plan coming out in early 2020 for those of you who enjoyed Welcome To and wanted maybe like a more accessible experience to share with friends that were like, Welcome To seems cool, but maybe a little too complex for me. Floor Plan goes a little more in that direction. Floor Plan is still going to be 1 to infinity players and simultaneous turns, but this one's going to be $20, and it's only going to take about 15 to 20 minutes to play on average. And then finally, we do have 7 Summits coming out in 2020. So that one is a Daryl Andrews and Adrian game, and it is illustrated by Quan Chai, one of my very favorite game artists. That one's going to be a 2 to 5 player push your luck worker placement game, very family friendly. It's going to give you a surprisingly speedy and beautiful flowing turns, and about a 25 to 30 minute game experience that you would usually expect to take closer to an hour. So it really translates and simplifies a more complex gaming experience into something that brand new to board gaming players are going to be able to appreciate. And that one's going to come out in mid-2020. So we've got a lot going on over the course of the next year, and we're super excited to share it with you.
Again, this is Boardgame Brody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.